I was reading a comment the other day online. I don't know where it was, Facebook, Twitter. I think it was Facebook. And somebody was making the somebody made a comment that conservatives are against UFO ending UFO secrecy or something to that effect. Let me tell you something. There's no politics when it comes to extraterrestrial visitation. That gets all thrown out the window. Of course, there's conservatives and there's liberals, right? And there's centrists, right? But when it comes to this subject, you throw that all out the window. There's people on all sides and in the middle who either believe or don't believe or are on the fence. It's just a hodgepodge. I mean, there's lots of liberals who think it's ridiculous. There's lots of liberals who think there might be something to it. They're not sure, and there's lots of liberals who think that it's real. And then same things goes for conservatives. There's a lot of conservatives I know think that it's absolutely real, and then there's some who they don't think it's real. They think it's ridiculous, and then there's some who just don't know and they're on the fence. There's no politics when it comes to extraterrestrial reality. You could just throw that out the window. Now, there's a different sort of politics, however. Like inside the bubble of the UFO problem, there's a different sort of politics. There's the politics of the debunkers and people like me, okay? People who know that it's real. Okay, there's a big difference in the believers and the debunkers. That's the only kind of politics that are going on here. But some of the debunkers could be conservatives, some of them could be liberals, just as some of the believers are conservatives and some of them could be liberals. And the same thing goes with the centrists. I'm sure there's an equal amount between them. I mean, in the UFO community, in this whole bubble within the UFO bubble, it's a mixed bag, and outside politics really doesn't have any kind of an effect. But there are different politics, going on internally. Somebody, for instance, there might be some conservative who hates some liberal's guts and vice versa, right? But inside the UFO bubble, they might both agree with each other. You see that, But yeah, you have the debunkers inside that bubble. The debunkers basically they don't want to believe. They're basically, it's just basically they believe that they're the ones who are reasonable. They're reasonable in their minds on this. They're not though. They are not reason. They just cannot see it, right? There's no they can't think beyond of what they see here. Okay, they can't see it, right? Completely, because they don't have some kind of object. They need an object in their hand to really know that it's there. They just can't go by video evidence or reports. They just can't do it. They just can't have it in themselves. And additionally, they don't like this. They don't like the idea of this, the concept of it. And I grant you, it's not something. Even though I believe in it, I'm not sure I like a lot of it either. When you hear about some of these things that have happened throughout the years. But so I just think that I don't know what happens once even when the veil is completely pulled away. There's still going to be something. There's still going to be people that are going to just fight against this. They're just not going to want to believe it. And you're probably going to see the formation of different kinds of cults once the curtain is pulled back, right? And everyone sees the wizard, right? There's going to be the formation of different kinds of cults. You're going to see some of these religious evangelicals, preachers probably saying things like they're demons. They're not really from other planets. They're from hell. Things like that. And then vice versa. There might actually be some other ones that think they're angels. You're going to see all kinds of weird stuff. Things are going to get a little crazy once that veil is pulled back completely, right? I mean, when you're pulling it back like little by little, like the Pentagon has started to do over the last few years by admitting, admitting that yes, okay, there are things out there we don't understand it. They outmaneuver anything we have, So they're starting to admit it, but see, it's the main to have a government to completely go all in and just say when that one moment is going to be, there has to be some official, right? Because a lot of people need that official to tell them. They need an official. They need someone standing at a podium in Washington, with flanked by generals on either side, telling them that's the only way they're really going to believe this, right? And then there's going to be some heads exploding, right? At that point, when that ball finally drops, they could start they spoon feeding us like I was talking about in a previous podcast recently, spoon feeding us like this. But at some point, you're going to have to just go. Oh, you're getting closer to that line. We're getting closer to that line. At some point, you step across that line, and that's when the ball drops. That's when finally the mainstream media at that point will have to be like, whoa, because these people in the mainstream media, for the most part, they make fun of this subject. I mean, they've made fun of it. They've scoffed at it for years, and a lot of these know-it-alls think they know it all, and they don't. When they don't, they've never studied this subject. For as smart as a lot of these people on TV, they actually are. They're very intelligent when it comes to history and politics, but when the rubber hits the road with regard to the UFO situation, it's going to be, some of their heads are going to explode. They're going to be in shock, and it's going to be all over the news. Like the fact that alien visitors are here, it's the biggest story of all time, right? The biggest story. It trumps everything else. Everything else goes on the back burner once that official stands at that podium, whoever that official is, whether it's a president or some government scientist, whether it's somebody from the CIA or this Majestic 12, if that's what it's still called, or if it ever was called that, we don't really know. There's a lot of speculation on what if Majestic 12 was real or fake. I don't know. But somebody's going to stand up at that podium someday, and there's going to be a press conference, or maybe no press conference, maybe no questions. I would highly doubt that. That would be absurd, actually, to come out with the biggest story of all time and then just walk away. So there would have to be, I would imagine it would be a big, very big moment. But we're gonna get to a point. There's gonna be some more things, like as we move forward in the future, the government at some point is going to. There's going to be some evidence that they're going to present that is going to be different than what they've already confirmed that, yeah, these are unidentified. We don't know what they are. But there's going to be other evidence as this moves forward, trickling down to us, like the spoon feeding. But something's going to crop up where everyone's going to be taken aback. They're going to be like, whoa. They're going to be aghast because they're going to say, wow, this can't be from Earth. People will start realizing it. They still won't be completely sure. The government gives it a little bit more time, then they go to the podium. But like I said, when that ball drops, it's going to be interesting to see, because there's a lot of things it'd be interesting to know about these beings. I mean, again, I know that they're here. I've seen one of their craft. I believe one of these beings was in my bedroom when I was a kid. I've read numerous books. It's real. It is absolutely, positively real. They are here. But for the world in general, when the whole world is brought up to speed on this with people like me who already know, it's going to be interesting to see. But it's also going to be very interesting to learn, what does the United States government, other world governments, what do they know? What do they know? Like, what do they know about the craft and how they operate? How many craft have they recovered over the years? How many species of aliens are there that they know of? Those questions are going to be, to hear answers to those kinds of questions is gonna be interesting. They know some of this stuff. They don't know it all. I don't see how anybody could know it all. But it's going to be very, very interesting.